You know, there's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing a corporation dig up the remains of a happily deceased cow and drag its soul kicking and screaming from the underworld to milk out a few extra dollars. I love Megamind. It's one of my favorite animated movies, and I think it's aged like a fine wine.
There is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England.
To see that lovely film followed a decade later with this? Betrayal is such a flimsy word. However, this new movie isn't the only steaming carcass on display. You see, years ago, DreamWorks partnered with THQ to plop out some cheap games to market to hapless grandmas digging through Walmart bargain bins. Needless to say, the Megamind franchise's downfall began a lot sooner than we realized. Let's walk through it together, shall we?
I came from what you might call a broken home.
So an important note to begin, all three of the official games are noted as being released the same day, November 2nd, 2010. At first glance, that might make you think these are just three ports of the same game. They are certainly a mishmash of reused assets, voice lines, story in heavy air quotes, and even use the same exact intro cinematics. The DS one is a slideshow, but it uses the same audio anyways. However, each game is genuinely different, with unique level design, gameplay feel, and even full-on mechanics. Don't take unique to mean good, though, as each game has quite the pile of flaws to bury any remote positives. Another interesting note, Keith Ferguson was hired to play Megamind in all these games, and is also reprising his role as Megamind in the new movie and show. Honestly, he does a pretty good job taking Will Ferrell's original inflection and personality for the character and breathing his own life into it. So that's one shred of decency, I guess. Somehow they managed to get Jonah Hill to reprise his role as Titan, so that's cool, I think. And on top of all that, Keith David, one of my favorite voice actors and inspirations, is also in this. Do you want to guess what his character is in these kids' games on the Nintendo DS and the Wii? I'll give you a second. What's that? He's Scarecrow from Batman, except instead of fear toxin, it's party gas, and instead of dressing like a scarecrow, he's a pimp? Yeah, I don't know why that's the first thing that came to your mind, but you're right. These games are a train of bizarre choices that sometimes land, and sometimes they're there.
You call this predictable?
The way they used to have a cookie cutter factory to pump out these sort of games with big movie releases is fucking wild. On my Game Boy, I had a shitty Pirates of the Caribbean game, a shitty Van Helsing game, a shitty Penguins from Madagascar game. You know what? No, that's not fair, because I remember the Penguins game being actually kind of fun. I mean, sure, maybe if I went back to that game now, it would not be very good. Never mind, apparently this game was awesome. In stark contrast, the Blue Defender was just really fucking boring. Like, even at the time of its release, it was considered bland and uninteresting. I suppose aside from this one troll taking full advantage of the grading being on a curve. You spend half your time running around some mostly lifeless environments, stepping on big buttons to start elevators and doors, which... why did old games have such a fascination with jumping on big buttons? I'm sure it's because it was just much easier than programming an interaction with a lever or something like that, but it's still so silly watching characters hop onto these enormous platforms to turn on, like, a light. I don't know, I'm thinking way too much into it. You spend the other half of your time beating up mindless goons and breaking boxes for health and ammo. Yeah, your ranged weapons have an ammo count, which isn't exactly strange on its own, but in the other two games, you can just blast away forever. So, that's odd. There's this grapple swing mechanic to get over some specifically placed gaps, which seems relatively revolutionary for an old DS game, but I mean, beyond that, nothing was really satisfying or even particularly intriguing. In the first 4 levels, which constitute a solid 40 minutes or so of gameplay, they introduce 2 enemy types. A tiny guy that lazily shoots at you, and a big guy that walks at you and eats a couple more hits out of your gun. Do they need to have a robust roster of rogues? Not really, but if spamming Y is the vast majority of the game, you might consider making the things you spam Y at a little more shootable? Every 5th level is a boss fight, which is a welcome change of pace, but after nearly an hour of tedium, kind of gave up. I don't know. It's a DS game made for a movie. It's not offensive, but it's just overwhelmingly.
It's still warming up, sir.
Come again?
Warming up, sir.
Warming up! The sun is warming up?
Okay, this one was full of surprises. The first being that it's actually kind of fun. The kind of fun you have when you're allowed to play a 4-man team of weirdos with traffic cones on their heads and buzzsaw launchers for arms. It's a dumb 4-player beat-em-up with just enough variety in the gameplay to keep it interesting for fucking around with friends. Or bots, if you're playing alone in your basement like me. From beating up goons, to beating up bosses, to beating up each other, it's basically a carnival ride of punching and shooting your way through little set pieces. And by shooting, I mean shooting. This game is on the Wii, and like many games doomed to be on that platform, they will not let you forget it. You are forced to use the motion controls to aim your ranged attacks, even going so far as to have these shootout sections alongside the brawling. On top of the general minion bashing and arcade target shooting, there's the occasional versus challenge, like picking up money and putting it in a cartoonishly big chest, or picking up big metal balls and absolutely clowning on the other 3 players before tossing it into a goal. This game is like an unholy union of gang beasts and time crisis. Did I let the bots do all the brawling missions while I just fired away from the sidelines? Yeah. Did I then absolutely abuse the bots with ranged attacks when it was time for versus challenges? Also, yeah. The story, I didn't really get into it with the DS version because I kind of abandoned it. And also because honestly the story is barely a thread holding these games together. The Doom Syndicate, a gang of various second-rate supervillains, has escaped from prison and raided Megamind's lair for tools to enact an evil plan. What is that evil plan? To juice Titan up with Megamind's eyebrow hair and make him blue so he can be the villain again instead of creating a 4th new character. It's made even weirder that Blue Titan is the final boss when the game begins and normal Titan is a part of your superhero team brought together to stop Titan? I don't think they thought that hard about it, so neither should we. It's a mix of dumb fun and wild choices, and this somehow ended up being the best of the games. But in that way that any game can be fun when played with friends under the influence.
Let's not get our hopes up just yet.
Ultimate Showdown is kind of the full story mode out of these 3 games, though like I said, full story is giving it a lot of credit. It's like 2 or 3 mechanics more of a game than the DS version, replacing stepping on big buttons with repeating the same little puzzle over and over through each of the 3 zones. At least each zone has their own version, right? I do love Megamind's goofy run animation, and that when he carries heavy puzzle items, he waddles around like he really needs to take a shit. They did do one other cool thing, and that's that nearly every item in the environment is destructible, and they reward you for destroying it all too. So if you're the kind of psycho who likes to spam X and watch all the shit go flying, well, there's a vast majority of your XP. Congratulations. There's 3 unique weapons, each with their own qualities, and they're all used for different puzzles. The dehydration gun can shrink objects to reveal hidden things or get obstructions out of the way. The Tesla glove can bounce electricity between multiple enemies, which is really useful for when you're getting absolutely slobbered on, but it can also power certain machines to open doors and elevators. The blower glove. It's basically just a glorified leaf blower, but it absolutely blasts groups of enemies and can push heavy objects and power certain machines to open doors and elevators. What's weird though is that you don't collect them and then switch between them whenever you want. You know, that thing that basically every game with more than one weapon has been doing for the last 30 years? No, they just float in place at the puzzles where they're needed, and once you pick them up, well then you're forced to use that weapon until they give you another one for another puzzle. It makes it feel a bit silly upgrading them, since you don't even know if you'll get to use that weapon anytime soon, but it also makes me feel like I'm not really making any gameplay decisions in the moment. I'm just spamming the X button religiously through fights, and for puzzles, just pressing the big button that appears on screen like the dumb ape that I am. Is this too thorough a criticism for a kid's game? Maybe. Am I just frustrated I can't abuse the blower glove constantly because it can hit everyone and everything on screen at the same time, for free, forever? Maybe. Aside from killing goons and smashing the scenery for XP, there's some side missions you can grind, like pod racing, where you fly Megamind's bizarre little gas-powered flying motorcycle thing. And honestly, I completely ignored the actual race when I saw that there was a smash cars option. And yeah, you basically just hold A and pray. The game will take it from there. There's also a mech rampage minigame where you just walk around and break shit and get XP for it, so that's kind of fun. In terms of the story, like I said, it's barely there. You're fighting your way through the same 2 minions of the same 3 Doom Syndicate losers as in each of the other games. Destruction Workers Wrecking Crew, Psychodelic Sewer Gas Freaks, and Hot Flashes Cooks and Busboys. At the end of each level, you collect a piece to a DNA scanner that you can use to find Blue Titan for the ultimate showdown. So after all this time, running and gunning, over and over, can you guess how they designed the final battle? Is it just more running and gunning? Maybe they'll put you in the fully functional mech suit that's from the minigame, and you battle Titan more on his power level. A big brawl through the streets. I mean, surely they wouldn't make it a stationary turret sequence where you just press X 5 times, wait for Jonah Hill to creep up and monologue at you, and then drop a column on his own fucking head. Oh, no, don't worry. They make you do that whole sequence 3 separate times. And then you get the privilege of a barely 1-minute cinematic of congratulations. Holy shit. I don't know why I was expecting even a bit more from this movie tie-in cash grab, but yeah. Okay, so I just found out that Megamind is also in the DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing game thing, but I mean, I'm not going to pay $40 just to get some footage for that, so have at it, I guess. So yeah, that was all of the Megamind games. Overall thoughts? Yeah, they're not good. But are they quite as bad as this new movie? That's the real question. I mean, surely the internet is overreacting, as it's known to do, and I judged it harshly before giving it a fair...
You left us in the hands of him! No offense.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, no, it really does suck. Which is sad. And strange. You see, this new movie and TV show have the same writers as the original, which really makes you wonder what happened behind the scenes in production and editing, and also why it took 14 years for them to decide to come back. I'm always 100% willing to bank on hack executives just begging their cult IPs to make money out of thin air, but I mean, at some point you do have to ask what happened internally too. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever watched, certainly, but it's just so soulless and weak. I don't think I can better describe it than RogerEbert.com did. The film is intermittently funny and briefly heartwarming, as though they ran the original through the washing machine a few times and then faxed it. I mean, he literally looks like he's been through the wash. He is so pale. This man is a shell of himself. Well, I guess I ought to walk you through how sad this thing is. So the movie takes place like 2 days after the end of the original, and the whole theme of the movie is basically Megamind trying to get used to being a hero now. They begin by showing how much better the original looked so you can quickly burn through the nostalgia cope, before revealing that they changed Minion's name in-universe for the stupidest reason I have ever heard.
Due to a cease and desist order from popular fast food chain Mr. Minion's Meatsicles, I can no longer call myself Minion.
Yeah, I'm not honoring that. His first deed of heroism begins with a really empty fight scene that shows some of the biggest downgrades with this movie. Like the fact that they can't get the timing right on almost any joke. It's either so painfully slow, like they're waiting for a laugh track, or way too fast and doesn't give any time to actually be funny. Which sucks because on rare occasion, one of the jokes is actually not bad.
Your gadgets are like the Titanic, a total disaster.
How dare you! The Titanic was a delight for most of the journey.
That's actually a little funny. Like, this movie isn't completely without humor, but it's just not a funny movie. So after the fight, they show that Megamind is super rude to Minion, which... why? Part of the whole arc of the original movie is him learning to treat Minion with respect, on top of the be who you are and accepting responsibility. Other lessons they make Megamind go through again in this one. Like, they realized they forgot to write in some character development halfway through, so they just neuralized everything everyone learned in the previous movie. They introduced this new sidekick, Keiko, that's... I think she's supposed to be a foil so that, like, really young kids can relate to the movie. Kind of like Cole Young for the new Mortal Kombat. They were trying so hard to sell this as a true sequel with all the clips from the original and the advertising and whatnot, but it's clearly made for that leave the TV on in the background as white noise for the iPad kids sort of crowd.
It's a highly sophisticated electronic device.
It's cool. My generation was born tech-savvy.
Okay, seriously, why does Megamind look so pale? He saved the world. Can we get this man a fucking doctor? So while our hero is being an asshole again for no good reason, we're now introduced to the villains for this movie. The Doom Syndicate. Wait a second. No, I played the games. All 3 of them. Who the fuck are these losers? Where's that goon with a traffic cone on his head? Where's Pimp Keith David? I suppose there's one shining light, or rather deep dark shadow, to redeem this moment.
The broken nightlight in your cold bedroom. Sit and tremble as you gaze upon the frightening sight of Lord 99.
He is so stupidly emo and over the top, and it's actually one of the few things in this movie that feels genuine and fun. They had Megamind in permanent solitary confinement, like 100 consecutive life sentences of it, and these guys are just in Gen Pop? That says a lot. So after the Doom Syndicate B team breaks out of prison, they visit Megamind, their old leader, who decides to pretend he's still evil so they don't kill him. Naturally, that means he has to follow them on their crime spree.
You're all under arrest!
That was a very child-friendly cop interaction, pulling flashlights instead of, immediately blasting the hell out of these monsters.
I will call you Mr. Cuddly Snuggles. No one must know of our friendship.
Okay, seriously, 99 is like the only redeeming quality here. During this rather bland outing, the gang forces Megamind to rob a bank to prove he's still evil. While inside and with the Doom Syndicate unable to hear his words, Megamind stumbles over himself, unable to just tell the bank patrons that he's only pretending to rob them for appearances, and has to be saved by the literal child. Just telling them exactly that. I mean, if the tension of the scene is supposed to be the Doom Syndicate seeing him fake it, aren't we worried about the literal child guiding everyone alongside him? So after the crime spree, the Doom Syndicate host a rager full of criminals to celebrate their escape, inviting the Go Fish gang that Megamind took down as his first heroic act. I don't know if it's the animation or the Cocomelon 3D models, but the way these NPCs look and move just freaks me out. I mean, no one is looking at this fight going on. They're literally NPCs. Whoa, free feet pics? From a major streaming service? While all this plot is happening, we get to watch Minion move on from put-upon sidekick to toilet scrubber at a lovely little diner. Jesus Christ, that man just served a war crime. I don't understand why Minion is relegated to this sad-as-fuck side plot. He was already driven away in the first movie and had to come back and save Megamind out of the goodness of his heart, but last time it didn't take time away from the story. The next morning, the Doom Syndicate reveals that they plan to move Metro City to the moon. For evil reasons, I guess. Like, not that they'll threaten to send it there for money or power or anything. They're just gonna take the city and live on the fucking moon. So, cool, I guess.
Why do you have a teddy bear?
Give me back, Mr. Cuddly Snuggles. There. It's gonna be okay.
See? This is why no one thinks you are scary.
Teddy bears aren't scary. Yeah, they only eat hikers, idiot.
Megamind realizes that he can't take them on alone, and just like the first movie, needs Minion back. But Minion made the diner into this super fancy donut shop with a reservation list.
Ma'am, you give me no choice but to assert my dominance upon you.
You could let my friend in, or I could post a scathing review to my many followers mentioning the restaurant's cockroach infestation.
Nice try, but we don't have a cockroach infestation.
Okay, seriously, I hate the way Keiko is included in this. She's in the movie a lot less than I was expecting, which is great, but she's just fucking there randomly to move the plot forward past made-up nonsense that's just there to give her something to do. Anyways, it turns out Minion is happy and successful and not being treated like dog shit, so Megamind leaves him at the diner to be happy and goes to face the Doom Syndicate alone.
I'm really a good guy, a champion of justice, a hero.
No!
You watch your language in front of Behemoth.
After finding out that Megamind is a hero, the Doom Syndicate chase him off and Megamind has to go into hiding, where he is immediately found because Keiko's a fucking stalker and put a tracking chip on him. It is really fucking sad that Roxanne has to bond with the child. Like, she was a relatively strong and independent character in the original, with funny and emotional moments all her own. And here, she's just... I don't know. So everyone just shows up and is like, yeah, we're heroes now. Let's bring this random child that should definitely be in bed to war. So they head back to the evil lair to stop the Doom Syndicate, and while Minion sneaks inside to turn off the thrusters that will lift the city, Megamind and Roxanne try to hold off the villains with nothing but tennis balls. No wonder the city only put them in Gen Pop. Naturally though, tennis balls is a stupid-ass plan, so the city takes off anyways. Roxanne is suddenly downtown, and now's when they try to give her her own moment to shine. But naturally, it's only made possible by Keiko, because we gotta give her something to do besides stalk Megamind. This brainbot is a furry. Also, Minion is fucking dying, and it took the time to fly down and high-five Megamind before going to save him. You know, it actually sucks how little tech stuff we get to see in this movie. That was one of Megamind's best qualities, I think, was his random borderline diesel punk garbage tech. In this, he just uses a brainbot like twice, but otherwise he just uses things in the environment like a shitty MacGyver. After saving Roxanne, Keiko divine interventions for Megamind 2, and did she just murder him?
You are 100% going up on my inspiration board.
Roxanne, they did you so fucking dirty in this movie. So they beat all the villains, they pull a lever, yay, the day is over. I mean saved. Roxanne is now mayor, so she can rely on state violence to get things done instead of a middle schooler. What the fuck just happened to her leg? Don't look at that, just roll credits. Okay, this song actually fucking slaps. I'm not gonna lie. And there you have it. The games, the new movie, all the Megamind media you could... Oh. Right. There's a show, too. All right, let's watch an episode of the show.
Surprise! He's the real hero.
Okay, I ended up watching 2, but honestly, I'm kind of glad I did, because the second episode is genuinely funny. But I'll get to that. First things first. So the intro alone reveals a couple of things. Firstly, that they clearly put a lot more stock into the show, because not only was the outro music of the movie the intro music for the show, but the show somehow has better animation, and is also somehow kind of funny. I mean, this is cheap comedy, obviously, but it's a good indicator of the show's ability to keep a halfway decent pace on their bits. So essentially, the energy of the show is that Megamind is making a YouTube channel, and Keiko is helping him because he's dumb and old and helpless. I suppose they did have him sitting in a basement for like 14 years. All the while in the background, the Doom Syndicate escaped from prison again and are helping the show's main villain. But there's more important things to be paying attention to right now, like learning valuable lessons, because this is a kid's show, remember? This episode's lesson is about internet popularity, like literally telling lessons about not expecting to go viral and be famous all the time, and that is so bizarre. I remember when kid shows were like, be nice to your friends, always be honest, don't eat dirt. God, I'm so old. Megamind isn't getting nearly enough views on his videos, and he's being trolled by this new superhero Dude Monkey, so he literally does the hello fellow kids meme. Naturally, this doesn't play out how he's expecting, but he does go viral anyways because he basically just reinvents fail compilations. Minion's hand is really detailed in this shot. I don't know why I just wanted to point that out, but like, seriously, look at the texturing on that hand. Why did they put so much effort into this shot? While getting a lesson on being okay with being a failure, they find out that Nighty Night is doing crimes.
Now, zoom in!
Okay, that right there, like that's genuinely funny physical comedy, and it's kind of well timed. Why is the show so much better than the movie? So they go to the aquarium and try to stop Nighty Night, but he escapes after revealing that Dude Monkey is a fraud, and brings a fancy starfish to impress his brainy boss. Oh. He's smooth like a Ken doll. So the second episode is all about the donut guy that Minions saved from bankruptcy, and clinical depression. Mr. Donut, that's seriously what he calls himself, gives Megamind and Roxanne a tour of his bakery.
My sweet, gooey flesh is yearning for those pearly chompers.
What the fuck? Is that donut seducing him? Megamind makes the donut jelly all over the floor and puts Mr. Donut in the hospital.
I guess he could just hold on to that.
A miscommunication makes Megamind think that Mr. Donut's going to turn evil for being injured, and essentially the rest of the episode is Mr. Donut becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is actually a funny setup in theory, and somehow, against all odds, the show kind of pulls it off. Like, it's not flawless, but I was actually smiling throughout this episode.
Name one example where someone literally created a nemesis by knocking them into something.
Got it. Top 10 times where someone literally created a nemesis by knocking them into something.
People don't just switch from good to bad. Ooh, what do you say you and I launch our own investigation?
Are you not the fucking mayor? Don't you have a whole section of the city to get back in place? From like a couple of days ago when the city was going to the moon? Why is Peacock advertising car insurance to kids? So Mr. Donut returns to his bakery and why is he still wearing the donut? This man is way too okay with being perpetually sticky. Anyways, his pilot light on his vat of sticky stuff isn't lighting, and Megamind, in an effort to avoid Mr. Donut turning into a villain, gives him a fucking laser gun to heat his vat of sticky stuff. And when Mr. Donut then goes to the bank to take out a loan, the gun starts shooting everywhere and everyone starts to think he's a new supervillain.
A stethoscope-wielding villain the media has dubbed Dr. Glazer Donut has taken over Metro City Bank.
So a piece of concrete hits Mr. Donut on the head and he gets amnesia. Megamind then decides to bring him to his old hideout to wait for the heat to die down from his accidental crime spree. So naturally, the Fish Boys are also using this as a hideout, and they think that Dr. Glazer Donut is just so cool. And can I just say, this man dove into villainy so fucking fast? I mean, fuck the amnesia. This man was waiting for an excuse to go full evil. So while Megamind goes to check on Mr. Donut, Roxanne and Keiko break into the donut shop to try and figure out whether he's really evil. While there, Mr. Donut's wife and kids show up. Also, I just want to say this woman is a saint. She was working a second job at an off-brand Walmart to support this man's war crime of a diner. He better be spending that new donut money on a second and third honeymoon. So his family shows up to the hideout in the nick of time, and upon seeing them, Mr. Donut chickens out on his dreams of violence to go back to being a baker. But not before sating his bloodlust by helping Megamind end somebody else's life. That man is fucking dead.
Great to see Mr. Donut back and better than ever.
And not only that, I figured out a way to spend more time with the family.
More time with my family. Camera cuts to straight up child labor.
Come on, big guy. What's one more box?
Oh my god, why are the donuts so horny? Alright, I think that's enough for now. My brain is absolutely melted from all this Megamind exposure. Wrapping up.
You did it. You won.
Alright, so what did we learn? The games mostly sucked ass. The movie was pretty bad too. The show is somehow not as bad as the movie. Like, it actually has a tiny bit of charm here and there. I did only watch 2 episodes, but the whole Dr. Glazer Donut arc was genuinely pretty funny. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weak with criticism. Maybe working in a hospital lobby where really bad kids' TV was constantly playing has softened my dark, shadowy heart. And maybe the internet's just really good at constantly shitting on everything. I don't know. Yeah, I also don't know how to end this now. So, yeah, that was some bad Megamind stuff. Thanks for watching. And that is the end of that video. Hello. This is the end of the video thing where I say thank you to the oh my god, to the members. Hello, Artemis and Shore. This is a mega thank you for your support so that I could make this mega video. Yeah, I really appreciate that you guys are still here, still hanging around. You know, it's been really cool making videos. You know, this one kind of stems into a different space than things that I've generally been making for the last long while. I've been making exclusively like game commentary. I don't even know if commentary is a good word for that. I've been making gaming videos for the last year and some, 2 years now almost, I guess. And it's been very fun. This is my first time talking about something that's not really a video game. Talking about a movie and a TV show. So it's kind of fun to step off of my usual little platform, my usual style, and try something new. I suppose I talked a little bit about, you know, TikTok and YouTube videos for like 30 seconds in the last video. But this one, yeah, it's kind of fun to try something new. I don't know if it's any good because I haven't edited it yet at this point, but I suppose we'll find out after I finish editing it whether or not anybody gives a shit. But thank you all so much for watching anyways. If you're still somehow fucking here, I appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and or night. And we'll see you next time. Bye.